He's dead!
Leeches! That's gonna smart. He's done for.
I have this first blood. This is despicable. It's locked, all right. In this letter, Mortimer Goswick does nothing to hide his desire to die. I could give it to his mother, but doing so would betray his trust. So, Mr. Hooks and Nurse Hawkins are an item. Those two have hidden their affections well. Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
I'm all right. I will not let you down. Don't waste your time.
Good evening, Mr. Goswick. How are you?
I'm okay.
I have retrieved your letter, Mr. Goswick. I can assure you that nobody read it but me.
Thank you. This is for you, then. For your help. And for your silence.
I think you should talk to your mother. It would be good for both of you.
Thank you, Dr. Reed. I'll think about it. Now, please, let me be.
I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
I have some good news, Milton.
What? The epidemic's over?
I retrieved your wallet with all the money and a certain picture.
Well, yeah, Pippa Hawkins is my girl. So what? Is it the difference of skin colour that bothers you?
Not at all, Milton.
Good. Please, take this money anyway. To remind you to keep your mouth shut. Not everybody is as broad-minded as you, Dr. Reed.
I'd like to see your goods.
Wise choice, Dr. Reed. A reliable gun is what everybody needs these days.
Good evening.
Good evening,
I'd like to see...
Wise choice, Doctor.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor.
I'd like...
Wise choice, Doctor.
Apologize when you're feeling better.
Good evening, Mr. Fiddick.
Good evening, Doc.
Goodbye for now, Mr.
I'm all right. Don't waste your time.
I will not let you down, my...
Good evening, Dr. Strickland.
And good evening to you.
I located the shop, but it was vandalized, and the owner is missing. All I found was your order.
I was afraid of such bad news. People are so desperate they're ready to burgle a shop for drugs.
That's quite a list you ordered. Opium, sodium hypochlorite. It can't be just headaches you're trying to cure.
This dreadful influenza, of course. I already ran some tests on hopeless cases. Without success, I must admit.
Do you realize you could create a lethal... without the correct dosage. Then there are the legal ramifications.
Is this not true of any medical substance, Dr. Reed? However, if you would agree to improve it, I'd be glad to accept your help.
As long as you promise to be scrupulous with your experiments, I may try to gather these substances, and even help improve upon the mixture.
That's all I'm asking for, Dr. Reed. That's all I'm asking.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland. I can't let Strickland put his patients at risk with opium. Perhaps an adjusted formula will deliver more of a placebo effect.
I'm alright. Don't waste your time with me.
This hospital. Seems to be falling apart.
Good evening.
And good evening to...
What do you think of Dr. Ackroyd's aversion to modern medical methods?
It's a shame he's so narrow-minded. Dr. Swansea taught me that science is about exploring uncharted territory.
With the influenza and all that's going on, you should put your differences aside, don't you think? Why is it so?
I believe that if Dr. Ackroyd had been the one to discover the transfusion process, he would be the first to recommend its use.
So you believe it's just a question of jealousy and pride?
Dr. Ackroyd is as proud as he is blinded by his obsolete concept of medical science.
I want to know about these secret tests you run, and if they can save people from this epidemic. Speak to me now, Thoreau.
I know I may sound presumptuous, but I'm just following your steps, Dr. Reed. I'm casting away the shadows of ignorance by daring to face them.
Self-confidence is essential in our line of work, my young colleague, but only if tempered with the correct amount of cynicism.
But you never doubt yourself, Dr. Reed. I've read all your articles and books. You performed the most daring research during the war.
Don't you think we have enough work already? Perhaps now is not the best time to be chasing shadows.
Chasing shadows, really? It's funny those words coming from the only doctor here who has spent more time outside this hospital than in.
Tell me, Thoreau, what's the real cause of your dislike for Dr. Ackroyd?
He refuses to admit that you save Mr. Fiddick. I'm convinced we must use it.
What Dr. Ackroyd really said is that you lack the skill to perform this operation efficiently. Is there anything you have to say about this?
It's a false conceit. Dr. Ackroyd secretly envies your reputation. His jealousy blinds him. I'm not the real target here.
Tell me more about your willingness to...
Harvey Fiddick is a patient suffering from a severe injury that could cripple him if not treated correctly. I'm convinced your blood transfusion technique could help him.
What is it you really want? To save him, or to prove your point?
Fair question. I want nothing but to save my patient, Dr. Reed. Especially since I know Mr. Fiddick's story.
Tell me Mr. Fiddick's story.
Our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr. Fiddick lied to us about the real origin of his injury. He first claimed it was an accident.
But why would he hide such crucial information from us?
Because he is a proud father, ashamed of putting his children at risk because of his own negligence.
Goodbye, Doc.
Let you down, my boy.
I'm quite busy.
Do you think Dr. Strickland has...
His wish to cure the sick is not driven by pride, but by an idealistic view about our mission here.
You consider him a good practitioner?
Strickland may be a rival, but I will not use dirty tricks or regulations to prove him wrong. We are doctors.
Thank you for your time. Good evening.
Good evening, Doc.
Tell me about your...
My wife died because of me. And now I may lose everything because I've been careless enough to hurt myself. What an arsehole.
You can't hold yourself responsible for your injury, Mr. Fiddick. Unless you tried to hurt yourself.
Of course I didn't hurt myself. But I can't work.
How could your job be responsible?
I was working a double. She went out to bring me a hot meal and got caught in a German bomb raid.
Tell me more about...
1915. I was in the army. Building work.
What happened?
The Germans sent Zeppelins to bomb the construction site, but they missed their target. My wife was bringing my dinner when the bombs fell.
I'm sorry for your loss. So many died during the bombings. I served in France and witnessed the carnage there.
I would like to say that she didn't suffer. Truth is, I have no idea. I just know that I'm all that me kids have. Poor little bleeders.
How are your children?
They were smaller then. The only good thing about this is my Ellen didn't bring them with her that night.
Goodbye for now.
You always knew the words to calm the children, Ellen.
Good evening.
Dr.
Goodbye.
Perhaps I should have considered the offer from that Cadogan fellow.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Goodbye now.
I'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Good evening.
Dr. Reed.
do?
I always fancied visiting Cyprus.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
Time has lost its effect on me. But the suffering continues.
Damn it! Why is this so difficult every time? That is better. That is better. I will make it through one more night.
Good evening, Dr. Tippett.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
I know you're taking drugs, Corcoran. Why take such a risk?
I need it to endure the long shifts. We have no idea how long the epidemic will last. We can't let it win.
For God's sake, what are you thinking? How can you be so irresponsible?
Irresponsible? I am devoted to my work. I am doing this for all the patients who need our help. I cannot abandon them.
Goodbye, Doctor. Good evening.
Good evening.
Tell me what Doctor...
If I had...
You can't...
Look her...
To clear...
I respect...
Tell me, nurse. Did you know Dr. Tippett was addicted to medication?
I suspected this behavior for some time, but never dared to ask him about it. Until the day he confessed to me.
Do you approve of his addiction?
Of course I don't approve. But I understand he needs it to fight the exhaustion. Let's hope he'll stop injecting himself once the epidemic is over.
And what if he doesn't?
Then we'll have to convince him to stop. I believe he's still in control of his addiction, for now, but we must remain vigilant.
Goodbye, nurse. Good evening, Miss Howcroft. How are you tonight?
I need blood, Doctor. Warm, rich, vibrant blood.
Tell me, Thelma, what do you really know about vampires?
I saw one and he saw me. I watched him hunt and kill. I saw his terrible wounds heal as his victim died. And then I knew I was saved.
You mean you actually saw a vampire? Here in London?
Yes. And it has been the answer to my pain. I must drink and kill to regenerate my decaying body. I am a vampire too.
You have no idea what problems your claim could cause if heard by the wrong people, Miss Howcroft. You must stop this nonsense, now.
Why fear the truth? Strange things live in the dark, Dr. Reed. Strange and ancient beings that were here before this island even had a name.
Tell me, Thelma, why do you feel so attached to Mr. Elwood? Why him?
I'm not sure, Doctor. I think we have a bond of some sort. We've both suffered so much. He's the only mortal I find interesting.
Do you plan to make him a vampire too?
Of course not. How could I inflict my curse on anybody else? I'm not that cruel, Doctor.
Would you say you and Mr. Elwood are romantically involved?
No. No, Thomas is a delicate soul. Even though he disguises it. But I am not the woman he needs. No, for I am a vampire, Doctor.
Who are you really, Miss Howcroft?
Is that not enough for you, puny?
I'm curious to know who you...
No, it was such a long time ago, I don't remember. Centuries of unholy life can have strange effects on one's mind.
I'll leave you.
But the suffering continues.
Okay.
It's locked. Good evening. I'm
Always a pleasure to meet a colleague, sir.
A colleague?
Not anymore, sir. I used to be Dr. Rakesh Chadana. Now, I'm just Mr. Chadana, pawnbroker and humble guardian of this morgue.
What do you mean, you used to be a doctor? Was your license revoked?
No, sir. It is just that I like to be precise. I run a little pawn shop while taking care of the dead. But I used to be a real doctor.
Please show me one.
Of course. It's just trinkets and curios.
Strickland's project could be dangerous. I have a mind to report him to Dr. Ackroyd.
Reads me like a book.
Good evening, sir.
Fail and survive this epidemic. Good evening to you.
I have managed to improve the mixture by diluting it. Have you ever heard of Sir Joseph Francis Olive, or the placebo effect?
No, I don't think so. Why?
A placebo is a substance or procedure that has no actual physical effect.
You made a placebo of my project. Why?
Research has established that a placebo, as long as the subject believes in the effect, can provoke a positive physiological reaction.
Really? That's fascinating. And you want me to, what, administer the placebo and see what occurs?
Something like that, yes.
Well, I'm a bit surprised, but I trust you, Dr. Reed. Please take the key to my cabinet and put this placebo there for future use.
Goodbye, Dr.
Daily routine.
My sweet girl. Never could keep anything from her.
At least Strickland can't kill anyone with this formula.
It's locked, all right. It's locked. It's locked, all right. It's locked.
I wonder what your last thoughts would be, sir.
Good evening, Doctor.
You realize your son could try to kill himself again. He might succeed next time.
I think about it every minute. But I won't stop fighting for my son's future. That's how much I love him.
Your empathy is remarkable. But I fear that your son's decision to end his life has already been made.
How dare you talk to a mother like that? Talk to me like that?
I'm only trying to be honest, Mrs. Goswick. As painful as this fatal end may be for you, you have to accept this is a possibility.
No, I'll never accept it. If my son was to die under your care, well, you have no idea what I'm capable of, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
My sweet girl.
Good evening.
I'm okay.
Admit it, Mortimer.
Yes.
All right, then.
Call it what...
I've read your letter, Mortimer. You wrote about an unbearable feeling of despair, while the world crumbles around you. Tell me more about it.
There's nothing more to say, really. It's hurtful, it's unbearable, and I don't ask anyone to understand what I feel.
Despair is a deadly poison I've tasted myself, sir. We're only tempted to drink it because we're terrified by the uncertainty of the next minute.
I know that perfectly, Doctor. For I waited for so long, hoping that the next minute would be less unbearable.
I have to go now, sir.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
Come now, we can handle this.
You don't mind if I search your pockets, do you, sir? You won't need any of these anyway. I'm not stealing from you, mister. I'm only redistributing your belongings to people who need them more than you. You see, no one has claimed your body, sir, so it would be such a shame to bury you with your valuables. I will not forget you, sir, and I thank you for your generous donation.